Great, really great to see you again. Love what you do with GovCon, and we'll continue to be a part of that. And Emily, nice to see you. And I'm hearing some of the same things. One of the things that I've done, and maybe I should just start with just a little bit about my background. So I am a retired Army officer. I retired in 2006. I got a chance to believe that commercial that said "Join the Army and see the world" back in the early '80s, and I believe I did just that. So I commanded troops in combat on one end, and on another end, I served as a spokesperson for an Army secretary and for a chairman, and also had an opportunity to work in the White House for about 20 months, where I was the director of biodefense policy, and of all things, actually co-authored the first pandemic implementation plan.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I mean, I remember meeting you for the first time, coming to your office, and it had the beautiful video monitors in the front. We walked back to your office, and I could see all of the military activity. And then there was basketball, I think, out there too. But I just felt like it was a perfect opportunity to have you talk about communications in this time where we're having a hard time communicating.
Yeah, and it's extremely hard right now. And I'll tell you, we built our business model centered around communications, but it's spanned out to other areas. So, I started the company in 2006 out of my house. Today, we have just about 100 employees, or we call them team members. We don't call anybody employees. We all work together. So we are headquarters here in Tampa, but we also have an office in DC. We have people working in various government uh, places around in about 8, 9 different agencies. And we also have a corporate arm of our business as well, where we do state, local government work. And we have large Fortune 500 clients like ExxonMobil, AT&T, and Coca-Cola, and a few others. And, so we have people say, what is your business model? I said, it's different than probably most, especially in the small business space. But what it really has taught us is given us an opportunity to leverage across lines things we could do for the benefit of our clients. And I think no time is better to leverage those than right now, right this moment. When we were looking back about 2 months ago, and the COVID thing had been getting a little bit more attention, I drew upon the basics that I know and that I learned and was taught in the military. Just focus on the basics first. We had actually been paying attention about 6 or 8 weeks before everything started to happen. I leaned forward. We started ordering additional laptops. We started ordering face masks and sanitizers, and taking steps well before others started doing that. Because my experience in developing the first pandemic implementation plan, I knew the government should be doing some things in phases. And it's to some degree, I didn't feel like we were doing those things, but I was watching this close enough that and I would share with Maureen that, hey, these things are happening, we're not paying attention here. So we were in a position, we had gone to the cloud several years ago. So we quickly went to a place where everybody was working from home. And we started working with our contracted officers, as Emily shared, working with each contracted officer to talk about that particular situation and how we can best mitigate it and continue to do our work for the government. But by focusing on the basics, there's really 5 things I shared with our leadership team that we were going to do. And it becomes more complicated when people are out of the office. But if we focus on these 5 things, we were going to be well. The first was focus on the basics. What are those things that we must do every day to stay in business? What are those things that we must do to satisfy our contractual requirements? What are those things that we must do to take care of each other? So we're going to perfect those things. Let's get the basics right. And then, we're going to refuse to be paralyzed by the things we don't know. Because oftentimes people become paralyzed because of fear, and they're afraid to move in some direction. And I just refuse to be paralyzed by what I don't know, while still trying to make the best decisions. The third was we're going to get up and listen to the environment every day. And the environment's changing fast. So we're going to move and reflect and flex with the environment. We're really going to pay attention to the environment. And how I define that for my senior leadership, the environment is your customers. The environment is your employees. The environment, is the physical and the non-tangible things that surround the operating space that we must be in. and all those different spheres that we talked about. So we're really going to pay attention to the environment. And the fourth, we're going to ramp up our communications efforts, both internally and externally. We're going to ensure that our clients know that we're up and running and that we are there to help them. And that's one of the reasons why we moved out of our office space early, because I knew it was going to take us a little time to get settled. And while everybody else was trying to figure out what to do, we were on the phone calling saying, how can we help? Because we had given ourselves just those 10 days made a huge amount of difference of getting out, testing our systems. We ended up buying something like 30 laptops. Now you think about that, 30 laptops at $1,000 a piece. Now that's roughly what a good business grade laptop costs. That's an unprojected cost for a small business. But I knew it was necessary because the environment told me that we couldn't have any hiccups with our folks working from home. And the fifth thing was I better take care of me. I'm used to traveling, eating fast food all the time. I'm on the road for, 2+ weeks every month. Emily, I actually have a place in Northern Virginia and Alexandria that I've had for years. So I split my time between Tampa and there. But I ate more fast food in the last 5 to 7 years than I've probably eaten all my life because I'm on the road so much. And I knew I had to take the opportunity right now to take better care of me so I can lead during this time period. So which means I walk more, I eat better, I eat more vegetables. And then I encourage our team members to do the same thing because I know from my combat leading experience, if you're not in good shape, you're not in good mental shape, and you make bad decisions because you're tired and you really don't understand what's going on around you. So I adapted that same philosophy on the onset of COVID. Of those 5 things, they're equally important, but the communications piece spans all the others. And we really ramped up how we communicate with each other using technology. We're actually more effective as an organization in a lot of places than we were before. And we operate more efficiently, and we keep getting better at it every week we use Microsoft Teams. And to be honest, I love it. I'm watching the time, so I probably should stop, Jenny, and let you ask some questions or take some questions from the audience, because I can go on and on about this.
I figured that. I really appreciate what you were talking about with the 5 areas of focus, and the one that I think you're right. Everybody that I'm talking to says the communication has been the most important, and what we had to do was adapt our communication styles in order to make that work. I know that when we started this, I would do a lot of Zoom calls, but I wouldn't necessarily do the face-to-face because I didn't feel like putting on makeup and doing my hair. But you did a great job with your hair today, Brian.
Well, thank you. I've worked hard at that. That's 4 or 5 times a week I actually shave it.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be like Dr. Don, Dr. Russ Barnes.
Well, he certainly has a great look. And Maureen, it's probably been a challenge that for both of you to be home at once, but at the same time, it's like, well, we could do more things. And I think I had to eat healthy because it's harder to go out to fast food if you're not going to be in the car. And we would have discussions about, well, what if they touch something and you get it? So tell me a little bit, Maureen, about how it's helped you to adapt in the company. Take yourself off mute.
I'll go to mute so she can come off. So.
Yeah, we're in the same room. So using Microsoft Teams has really helped us collaborate better. We can quickly get a group of people in a meeting so that we can work together. We can pull up documents, look at them on our own monitors in our own space. So we've had a lot of things that have helped us collaborate and move us forward in areas that we've been working on before this happened. We're moving a little bit faster in some of those areas because of the way we're able to work. And we're eating lots of vegetables. And one other thing that we're doing with our Microsoft Teams, when our team members went home, we had them sign a telework agreement. And one of the items they agreed to was to be on video. And part of that was not just to force them to put on their makeup or comb their hair. We want to see them, and we want to make sure that they're doing okay and look them in the eye. So everyone has complied with that, and it's really good for our mental health to see people and to interact that way.
Well, so much of what you're talking about is discipline and practice and that type of stuff. And I know that a lot of the people that are on the call are veterans, and it's like, get up, make your bed, and those type of things. I think the other thing that I thought was interesting was listening to the environment. What's going on, and who do you listen to? And has it been difficult, Brian, for you to reach some of your counterparts that are customers, or are you communicating differently with them as well?
Yeah, so I believe that you have to communicate with people, especially customers, the way they want to be communicated with. You can offer thoughts, advice, and counsel, but if a person is used to getting your text message, don't force them to go to a Zoom. Listen to that particular client and communicate with them the way they need to be communicated with. If that person is they get up early and they're at the office early, then you ought to be calling them early. So you have to, and I stress that over and over with our team, is we can't do blanket communication. We have to communicate in a way that the receiver receives it.
Well, I think you're absolutely right about that. And I know I've had a lot of discussions during this time with Russ Barnes about how you can take a look at your business and what you need to adapt to, because Russ is the strategy guy, and he's been so much help to me this year. Hey, Russ, what other things are you seeing people do? I thought it was really important when Brian was talking about how do you not be paralyzed? And I think the military leadership is really good about having decision structure, and that seems to be what you also incorporate.
Yeah, there's such a high level of uncertainty right now in the community among us small business owners. And, Brian, you're a brilliant, strategic thinker, and much of that I'm sure has developed over the years. And, a lot of my strategic strength has come from having served at higher headquarters, a lot of joint work, Central Command, European Command, the Pentagon, and so forth. But what about the small business owner who is a one-person shop and doesn't have that strategy experience and background? And so what I'm seeing from them is a high level of concern. I won't say fear or panic, because it's not at that level, but it's a concern about, well, what am I going to do when this reopens and I have to try to ramp back up again? And now all of a sudden I have all of this debt that I picked up. How do I manage all that stuff? So, so 2 weeks from now, we'll have a chance to talk about, the mission mapping framework that I use to help them to see, because it's a matter, once you can see what things look like moving forward, you can then make those better decisions. And so, so that's kind of what I'm seeing, that uncertainty.
Well, thanks, Russ, for that. And Brian, I think that one of the other things that I heard you say is when you saw this coming, and basically implemented a pandemic plan based on what you had written before in the past. I'm sure you never expected that. How was it to keep your employees' questions answered and make them feel like they were being taken care of as well? Because I know, having visited your office with the interactive whiteboards and everybody dresses up for Halloween and all the things that you do to keep your VISTRA corporate culture going, they were absolutely looking to you and others in your company for the leadership. So how did your employees react? Did you have challenges for specific groups of employees that you hadn't anticipated?
Well, first of all, Jenny, early on I said some people are going to get it right away. Some people will be afraid. Some people will be, almost paralyzed. And it kind of worked out like that. But I felt it was my job to find ways to communicate and find ways to ensure we kept some sense of norm through all of it, because that's what people are used to. So that's why when we developed the policy, we developed our internal policy that said, you have to be on Teams video or take PTO. So it's basically non-negotiable. And what that has meant is people are seeing each other. They're seeing each other's pets. They're having more conversation about things that are important to each other and getting our client work done. So for the most part, and there are times when people don't come on, but for the most part, people are really coming on, and they're receiving it. The other thing we did, Jenny, is we have a weekly call across the enterprise at noon on Fridays. And I said, I'm going to do something. I'm going to pull a playbook out of the Army. So I have a commander's update literally on Friday at noon, 10 to 15 minutes. And we end that call with our company chaplain saying a prayer. So we let people know that we're going to do that. And if they choose not to be on there, or they choose not, it's totally voluntary, or they choose to get off before prayer time, that's up to them. Nobody gets off. Think about that. Today we had it. I think we had over 40 people from the company participate. Our company chaplain is my dad, by the way, and has been with our company and a part of everything we do. The other thing we do is on Thursday mornings at between 8:30 to usually 9. This week I let it go for an hour. We have coffee time. So we have a virtual cup of coffee. Bring your own coffee and your cup. And I do not set an agenda. I let people talk about whatever is on their minds. Sometimes, Jeannie, it's about their pets, but they get to share that with each other. Occasionally, somebody will ask a really focused business question, but that's probably less than 10% of the time. It's usually about the other aspects of their life. That's been so important to everybody to be a part of that. So it's those kinds of things. Last night I did and I know lots of people are doing this. We did a happy hour with just our Northern Virginia team. And it was really, really powerful. And they've already asked to do another one soon. So we continue to find some of those places of norm to keep people engaged and a part of everything that we're doing.
Well, this